Breaking. RCMP investigators have unearthed disturbing evidence in Janie Mackenzie's yard. A quiet piece of land, once overlooked, is now the focal point of a storm. Tonight, that discovery is not just a clue, it could be the turning point in the hunt for Lilly and Jack Sullivan. For weeks, the Mackenzie property had been described as nothing more than a quiet patch of ground, fenced off from the road, the kind of place you'd pass by without a second thought. But late last night, the atmosphere shifted. Search teams descended with forensic tools, shovels, and floodlights, combing through every inch of soil. What they pulled from beneath that earth has left even seasoned investigators shaken. Sources close to the case describe items of high relevance directly tied to the missing children. Bags were carefully sealed, evidence markers dotted the ground, and the yard that once looked ordinary is now treated as a potential crime scene. Neighbors report hearing the heavy machinery before sunrise, followed by the chilling sight of uniformed officers kneeling in silence over what they had uncovered. Every step was methodical, every discovery guarded with urgency. For the first time in months, investigators believe they may have stumbled upon something that directly links back to the night Lilly and Jack vanished. Tonight, the Mackenzie yard isn't just dirt and grass, it is a canvas of a haunting mystery. And what investigators found buried there may finally unravel the silence surrounding the disappearance that has held Nova Scotia captive. Picture it, a modest rural yard, grass uncut in places, an aging RV sitting off to the side. To neighbors, it was ordinary, another patch of Nova Scotia countryside. But investigators saw something different. They returned here, methodical, determined, and what they uncovered is now described in court documents only as disturbing evidence. The setting could almost lull you into a false sense of security. A swing creaking in the wind, the faint sound of birds overhead, and that rusty RV, untouched for years, as if frozen in time. But beneath the quiet surface, investigators detected inconsistencies, patches of disturbed soil, items left out of place, and areas where the ground seemed unnaturally compacted. This was no longer just a yard. It had become a crime scene under their watchful eyes. Forensic teams swept through with ground-penetrating equipment, then shifted to hands and shovels, working carefully to avoid contaminating what might be critical to the case. Every square inch was examined. What they found has been sealed away, mentioned in official records only under the phrase disturbing evidence. That choice of words alone is telling. It suggests something beyond ordinary, something investigators believe cannot be dismissed as coincidence or clutter. The secrecy surrounding the discovery has only heightened speculation. Why here? Why now? And how does this property tie so directly to Lilly and Jack Sullivan's disappearance? The very fact that the RCMP carried items away from this yard, evidence bags tucked tightly under armed escort, signals a chilling turn. For the first time, the path forward in this case no longer looks cold. It feels like the ground itself is speaking. For months, Janie's yard was little more than a backdrop, but today, it feels more like a stage. A stage where silence hangs heavy, where every object, every shadow, every unexplained mark is examined under the cold gaze of investigators. What was once an unremarkable rural property is now under a microscope, its every corner dissected for meaning. That broken fence post no one noticed before suddenly seems like a possible clue. The rust creeping across the RV's metal siding isn't just decay. It's a reminder of how long this place has been overlooked. Even the soil itself, once just another stretch of earth, is now treated as if it might hold secrets buried deep beneath its surface. To those watching from a distance, the yard has transformed from scenery into evidence, from ordinary into ominous. And outside the police tape, the community's imagination has ignited. On social media, whispers turned into waves. Posts claiming that bones had been unearthed, hidden under the shadow of the RV neighbors reposted. Theories multiplied, and the silence of fact was quickly drowned out by the noise of speculation. These reports remain unverified. The RCMP has not confirmed any discovery of remains. But the rumors themselves have weight. They reveal the desperation of a public clinging to fragments of possibility, piecing together their own answers where official voices remain guarded. Every rumor, every hushed conversation in corner stores and coffee shops carries a mix of hope and dread. Hope that at last the children might be found. Dread that the truth, when it comes, may be far darker than anyone imagined. What does disturbing evidence mean in a case like this? To families, it sparks hope and dread all at once. Hope That after endless dead ends, investigators may finally hold a breakthrough. Dread that the answer buried in that yard could confirm their worst fears. The phrase itself is deliberately vague, used by law enforcement when details must remain sealed. Yet its weight is undeniable. It is not the language of routine. It doesn't describe discarded trash or random clutter. It implies something that cannot be brushed aside, something that carries a potential link to the missing children. For parents, hearing those words feels like the earth shifting beneath them. One part of their heart leaps at the thought of progress. Another recoils, terrified of what disturbing might actually entail. Imagine being a parent, hearing those words, disturbing evidence. You don't need details. The phrase alone is enough to freeze the blood in your veins. It paints images you don't want to see, conclusions you pray aren't true. Is it clothing? Is it something tied directly to the children? Could it be the unthinkable? Each possibility pounds like a drumbeat in the mind, impossible to silence. For the Sullivan family, and for the community following every development, the ambiguity is agonizing. The discovery has cracked the stillness, replacing it with an atmosphere thick with tension. Until those sealed files are opened, disturbing evidence will remain more than just a description. It is a shadow looming over everyone who still waits for answers, forcing them to confront both their deepest hopes and their darkest fears. Investigators don't choose their words lightly. The decision to seize and label evidence as disturbing signals more than curiosity. It signals weight, relevance, a piece of the puzzle that cannot be ignored. In law enforcement language, every word carries purpose. When evidence is logged, it's categorized with precision: miscellaneous, personal, forensic. But disturbing is different. It suggests something that struck investigators on a deeper level, something that demands attention not only for its physical presence but for the implications it carries. It means they didn't just find an item, they found something that could change the trajectory of the case. A discovery serious enough to be sealed, safeguarded, and possibly held as a key to unraveling months of confusion and silence. And so the lens narrows to Janie's yard. Once just part of the scenery, now a crime scene under a microscope. Where neighbors once saw little more than long grass and an old RV, investigators now see a tapestry of potential evidence. The ground is no longer just soil. It is a record, layered with clues waiting to be pulled to the surface. Every shovel of date, every sweep of a forensic brush, is a step toward decoding that record. Each square of earth, each item catalogued, may hold the answer to what happened on that haunting day when Lilly and Jack disappeared. Was something hidden here intentionally? Was this yard chosen as a dumping ground? Or was it bound more deeply to the events of that night? The weight of those questions now hangs in the air, pressing down on investigators and community alike. The silence of that yard is deceptive. Beneath it lies a story that may finally come to light. The stillness of the property, the uncut grass swaying in the breeze, the weathered RV parked to the side, all of it masks what investigators now know to be far more significant. Every inch of soil has a potential to speak. Every buried fragment a clue waiting to tell its part of the story. And whether the truth uncovered there points toward clearing someone's name or exposing a hidden crime, one fact is clear. Investigators believe what they unearthed matters. For months, the disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan felt like a riddle with missing pieces. Leads grew cold. Searches ended in frustration, and the weight of uncertainty pressed down on the families and the community. But with this new discovery, the tone has shifted. The RCMP isn't treating Janie's yard as a casual search location anymore. It is now a cornerstone of the investigation, a place that may finally tie together scattered threads into something undeniable. This case is no longer just about a disappearance. It's about a discovery, a disturbing discovery that could crack the Lilly and Jack Sullivan case wide open. For the public, that phrase carries both dread and hope. For investigators, it represents movement where there was once only stillness. And for the families waiting, it may mean that at last, the silence will be broken, and the truth about what happened to those two children will finally begin to surface. The yard of Janie Mackenzie is no longer just a place. It is evidence. It is a question mark. And in the coming days, it may become the answer everyone has been waiting for. What was once a simple piece of property is now transformed into the center of a storm, its boundaries marked by yellow tape, its soil treated with the same caution as a sealed courtroom exhibit. Every step across that ground is measured, every movement documented. because investigators know that within those few square feet may lie the truth that has eluded them since the day Lilly and Jack disappeared. The RV that once seemed like nothing more than a relic of rural living is now a potential vault of secrets. Even the grass, trampled and cut through by forensic teams, carries with it the possibility of preserving hidden traces, fibers, fragments, or something much darker. For the community, the shift is overwhelming. Janie's yard isn't just a backyard anymore. It's a place where answers may finally be carved out of silence. Speculation swirls, emotions rise, and the weight of expectation bears down on every headline, every whisper of new findings. Stay with us as this chilling breakthrough unfolds, because what happens here in the next few days may not only rewrite the course of the investigation, but also decide whether justice for Lilly and Jack Sullivan finally moves from hope to reality. The soil has spoken, and now the world is waiting to hear its story.